Humans are a diverse bunch. We come in all shapes and sizes. However, one thing most of us share is a love of travel and new and exciting experiences. Every year, Queensland attracts thousands of diverse visitors from all over the world who enjoy the amazing parks, beaches and experiences on offer.
It is important to remember though that tourism isn't always accessible to everyone in the same way. For example, did you know that approximately 90% of Australians with a disability have a non-visible disability? This means that many of your guests and staff may have specific sensory needs.
Before we get into things, just a warning, we are going to say the word brains a lot. Let's start with talking about neurodiversity. What is it?
Everyone's brain thinks, learns, communicates and processes sensory information differently. This diversity of our brains is called neurodiversity.
Autism is what many people may think of when they hear the word neurodiversity, which is fair, but neurodiversity is more, diverse. It also includes people with ADHD, dyslexia, dementia and Tourette syndrome, just to name a few. People with these disabilities are what are referred to as neurodivergent, as their brain differs from a neurotypical brain.
When we talk about neurodiversity, it's important to talk about our senses and how they are processed. Most people know the 5 senses of smell, sight, hearing, taste and touch.
But there are also 3 others. Vestibular, your sense of your head movement in space. Proprioceptive, the body's ability to sense movement, actions and location. This is how your body tells you information, such as where to place your foot when walking without you even thinking about it. And interoception. This is sensations related to your internal organs that tell you information about things like if you need to use the bathroom or if you are hungry. Everyone has a different sensory profile. Some people who are neurodivergent may experience some smells, tastes and textures, while other sensory information more intensely or less intensely than people who are neurotypical.
Some sensory information can even be painful to process, such as strong smells, glaring lights or loud sounds. These sensory profiles will be unique to each individual.
Some people may also have trouble concentrating on a single piece of sensory information. For example, where you can hear me speaking now, and they're able to focus on my voice. Others may get all the information around me at once, which can naturally be a bit overwhelming.
Sometimes when things become too overwhelming, an individual can experience sensory overload, and if ignored, this can lead to an individual having a meltdown or a shutdown. Meltdowns and shutdowns are when the brain struggles to cope with the extra information and goes into fight, flight or freeze response.
A meltdown is when the body reacts by fighting and or fleeing the situation at any cost, which means individual may present as being very vocal and physical. The person may rock back and forth, cry uncontrollably, hit or even throw things out of the way as the body tries to get out of the situation.
A shutdown is when the body reacts to the situation by freezing. You could describe a shutdown as being similar to when you stream a video and it stops halfway through to buffer.
Often it needs to buffer as our internet was overloaded with more information than it could handle, so the video stops until it can cope. This is similar to when an individual experiences a shutdown, and just like slow internet, a shutdown can be mild where the individual can still move around and communicate, to being more extreme where they literally freeze where they are and either stand there or drop to the ground. Often the individual is still aware of what is going on around them. However, they are unable to interact with the outside world until the shutdown passes. Often meltdowns and shutdowns are misunderstood as someone misbehaving.
However, it is important to understand that a neurodivergent person has no more control over their mind and body while they experience these than you would blinking or breathing.
You may experience a person having a meltdown or a shutdown as part of your role. When responding to an individual in need, it is important to understand that these situations can be very overwhelming and embarrassing for the person. To stay calm, direct onlookers away from the area and assist the individual as per their needs.
We want this video to help you feel more confident in making experiences more accessible for people with disabilities, so we have a few more tips for you.
The best way you can make tourism accessible and inclusive for neurodivergent individuals is by having an inclusive mindset. This involves asking and not assuming what an individual needs, focusing on the person first, not their disability, being approachable, flexible and solution focused, and committing to challenging any preconceived ideas you might have about people who are neurodivergent.
Regardless of what role you do, having an inclusive mindset is completely within your control and will make a huge impact to the accessibility and inclusion for all people with disability, including people like me who are neurodivergent. With an inclusive mindset, we can find solutions to whatever comes up together.
When it comes to tourism, it's great to be aware of the accessibility features that can be easily implemented to make any experience neurodivergent friendly. Some of these features include dedicated accessible lines at venue entrances, sensory rooms, sensory kits, staff who have completed sensory inclusion training, website and app, signage, social stories and sensory maps so guests can plan their visit.
Social stories, also commonly known as social scripts, are documents such as a brochure or guide that uses storytelling techniques along with simple language and images to explain new experiences and environments to neurodivergent individuals. Social stories are important tools as they can take individuals through an entire experience, allowing them to understand what they can expect.
For example, imagine you are visiting a theme park. A social story will take you through the process from arriving at the park to purchasing your ticket, right through to leaving. It will contain useful information such as how you are travelling there, whether it be by car, train or other transport, what the park looks like, who you might engage with, and most importantly, where the sensory room is located if you feel overwhelmed.
A sensory room is a purpose-built space that provides a quiet, safe space for anyone who may require an escape from high sensory environments. They are a quiet space that may contain sensory items such as beanbags, fidget tools, and activities for guests seeking sensory input to help regulate the nervous system and organize the body.
You don't need to be an expert or introduce all of these features at once. However, having an awareness means you can help people to understand what's on offer and point people in the right direction.
Disability is diverse, and people's experience of their disability is unique to them and can change over time. It's likely that your brain will want to think of all people who are neurodivergent as the same. So ask, don't assume, and keep working on challenging any preconceived ideas you might have about people who are neurodivergent. Great work! We can't wait to come and experience everything Queensland has to offer.